What's going on, everybody? High Stim Ace here. Hope you guys are having an incredible week. I hope you guys are crushing those workouts and chasing your dreams. Today, I'm going to be talking about a product that, if I'm being honest, I don't really even know how to approach this review because this isn't a pre-workout. This isn't something that I take and I know if it hits or not. This isn't a protein where I can break down the flavor, the macros, and tell you if it's worth picking up. This here is a natural test booster and one that's actually surrounded with quite a bit of controversy because, well, if you guys follow the Greg Doucette YouTube channel, you will know why this one here is controversial. Now, the product that I'm talking about here is none other than the Turkesterone Natural Test Booster. There have been a lot of claims about this one. A lot of influencers or Instagram are pushing this one regularly. And from what I understand, it is the top selling product for Harder Than Last Time supplements, which, by the way, I happen to be affiliated with. But after watching this review, they might not be too happy with me. But I got to keep it honest. I got to keep it straight with my community because my integrity comes first and I will never, ever lead you guys astray. So with that being said, let's roll that intro. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about my 2 months using Turkesterone from Greg Doucette. Let's go. All right, guys, so in case you think I'm BSing, I do have the 3 tubs right over here. This exactly lasted me 2 months, taking 2 capsules per day. And as you can hear, these tubs are empty. So I made sure to use everything. And it's been a bit of an interesting time for me because starting in mid-December, which is when I actually initially was going to start running this cycle here, this 2-month cycle, I started coming down with a lot of issues. I got sick for about 3 weeks, had the flu, and then I started dealing with a lot of injuries, inflammation, joint pain, and then I fractured my foot. It's been a crazy couple of months in the life of High Stim Ace, so I had to kind of delay this review for a little while, but once I started feeling a little bit better, even though I was wearing a cast on my foot for a couple of weeks, I did start running the Turkesterone, 1 capsule in the morning with food, and 1 in the late afternoon, early evening, preferably before training, which usually is around 5 p.m., right after work. Okay, so I've taken my share of natty test boosters in the past, and I've always said on this channel that as a natural lifter, somebody that has not dabbled with SARMs or anything like that, I understand that these products aren't going to be making a massive transformation in your life. Anybody that tells you otherwise is lying to you. If you're seeing your favorite influencer and these people are jacked and shredded and look like absolute Greek gods and they're going out there and they're showing you these bottles, guess what, guys? They're full of shit. This will not get you shredded like that. Not on that level anyway. Just keeping it real between us. But a lot of times I found that there is a benefit to taking these quote-unquote natty test boosters, something like an ecdysterone and a sapogenics from Huge Supplements, which, by the way, I did review. You guys could check that out. I also did review the KJ Labs natty test booster. I reviewed the UK Labs natty test booster. That one was pretty crazy. And I am very in tune with my body. I'm somebody that understands and actually feels how these products work. A lot of times people will take something like a maca root or an ashwagandha and they'll say, I don't know, I don't really feel it. Me, even if it helps me 5-10%, I will actually be able to tell the difference, how it's affecting my body versus a lot of people that wouldn't be able to tell. I am very in tune with my body, and as somebody who's ran my share of these natural test boosters, both generic Amazon-based ones and some of the more expensive ones, I can tell you whether something makes a difference or not. Now, again, if you're somebody that doesn't have their diet dialed in and your training is subpar, one day you're training, one day you're not, you're taking a few days off, you're going to have a cheat meal a couple of times a week, these things are not going to make a difference because these, in the end of the day, are supplements. These are not steroids. These are supplements. They are meant to supplement your lifestyle and your training and eating regimen. So if you're considering ever taking any form of test booster or fat burner or anything that alters your body, keep in mind it's only going to give you a very small boost. And if you don't have everything else in your life dialed in on a daily basis, there's no point to spend your money on these products. So now that we got the disclaimer out of the way, let me tell you what I think about this Turkesterone here. This is not the first Turkesterone I've ran. I've ran 2 different brands before. I will not mention the brands on here, but I did run 2 different brands. and one of them did claim to be legitimate turkesterone from Uzbekistan, which, by the way, is the only place where the plant is grown and it can actually legitimately be sourced from. And another one also claimed to be legit, but I later found out it was mass manufactured in China and cut with a lot of ecdysterone. Now, the interesting about ecdysterone is that there's more research about ecdysterone than there is turkesterone. Now, I know turkesterone is a form of ecdysterone, but with ecdysterone, you can dose it at much higher levels and it's a lot cheaper to manufacture. So turkesterone, real turkesterone, which Greg Doucette claims this is real turkesterone, and I believe him, it's very, very expensive. And that is my main issue with this product right off the bat. On the label itself, you can run this at either 1 capsule, 2 capsules, or 3 capsules. Ideally, you're going to want to run it at 3 capsules because the more of this you ingest, theoretically, the more it should help you gain muscle, help you with recovery, help with energy levels, possibly libido, all the claims that they make on this product and on the website. The problem is if you run this at 3 capsules, you're getting about 13 servings in here, which is not a lot. That's about 2 weeks worth. And this stuff's pretty expensive. It costs about 50 or 60 bucks each for each one of these bottles. It's pretty pricey. So I paid for 3 of these bottles myself. They did not send this my way for review. And I said I'm going to do the test and see for myself whether I think it actually helps or not. Even if it's a minuscule improvement, if I feel like I'm getting a little bit stronger in a certain exercise, or maybe I'm seeing a little bit more definition in the gym, maybe as somebody who's a natural, for me, it would have been worth it. So I'm going to talk about that experience in a little bit, but right off the bat, the main issue I have with this product is that for it to really be at its most effective, you have to take 3 capsules. And realistically, if you want to run a 2-month cycle, which is the minimum length that you should run this if you're even considering doing it, you're going to need like 4 or 5 bottles. So what I did was I ran it at 2 capsules, which brings it up to 20 servings. So 3 bottles will give you exactly 60 servings, enough for 2 months. And that is what I did because, quite frankly, like I said, the stuff's pretty expensive. Now, the last time I ran a natty test booster was the Sapogenics and ecdysterone combination from Huge Supplements, and I did notice a couple of things within the first 2 weeks. I noticed a little bit of bloating, and I also noticed a little bit of increased appetite, and that was when I was running those products, and specifically during the first 2.5 weeks. After that, things kind of balanced out, settled in a little bit, and I was kind of back to baseline. But during those first 2 weeks, I did notice a little bit of that. I got none of that on the turkesterone, so I didn't get an increased appetite. I definitely did not get an increased libido, and I didn't feel any more energy than I normally would. Now, as somebody who takes my share of high stim pre-workouts, I know you guys are thinking, Ace, how can you even tell if you're more energized or not? Obviously, I would be able to tell because I took this first thing in the morning with my morning cup of coffee. I'm not taking crazy high stim pre-workouts first thing in the morning. I may use a lot of pre-workouts, but I do use them for their intended purpose only, which is training in the gym. So I didn't notice any visible increase in appetite, nor did I notice any bloating or stomach issues, which in this case is a good thing because I don't want to have stomach issues on the regular like I did with the ecdysterone Sapogenics. So right off the bat, that is a good thing, but it also kind of worries me that nothing is happening. Usually when you're introducing a new substance to your system, whether it's maca root or ashwagandha or a new multivitamin, usually within the first 2 weeks, you're going to notice something, a little bit of a change in your body, be it negative or positive. I didn't notice anything at all during my entire cycle. So it's very confusing to me, and I really did push myself to train harder during the time that I was taking this. And I watched some other reviews. I listened to some other anecdotal evidence. Some people said they took this and they felt so energized that literally they took a capsule at 5 o'clock at night and they couldn't go to sleep. I got to call BS on that, guys. As somebody who's very in tune with his body and somebody who runs high stim pre-workouts regularly, even in the evening, and sometimes I do get trouble sleeping from running those products. I never had any sleep issues with this whatsoever. So no increase in appetite, no changes to my digestive system, no changes to libido, and no issues with sleep whatsoever. So far, it really feels like nothing more than a placebo. Now, the beautiful thing about the placebo effect is that even if there's no scientific evidence to prove that a certain supplement works, if you take it regularly and you believe that you are on a cycle, and that leads to you pushing harder in the gym and eating healthier and cleaner, then there could be benefits to taking such product. Now, even if the evidence is anecdotal and based on people's experience, that's enough for a lot of people, especially regular average gym bros that don't live and die by the latest science, because that stuff is always changing. Now, the science with this one here is finicky. I'm not going to pretend like I know all of it, but there's a lot of question marks around it, and it seems like a lot of it is pretty selective as well. So I'm not going by any of the science. I'm going by my own experience. I don't feel like this helped me push harder in the gym, as opposed to the huge supplements product, which I felt did actually help me push a little bit harder. This one also didn't make me feel stronger. It didn't aid in recovery. And to me, that was a bit of a disappointment, because I really thought that there would be a little bit of a boost coming from this, 5%, even 6%, a little minuscule boost to justify the price tag that came with this one. And again, I know that there's a lot of big influencers on Instagram that have way more successful channels than me, and they're telling you this stuff is good. This stuff is going to get you jacked and shredded right in time for the summer. Guys, these guys are all on a bunch of other stuff, and they're not disclosing what cocktails they got mixed up, and they're telling you that their turkesterone is responsible for it. I can't in good conscience tell you that, guys. If I felt like this stuff made even a 2 or 3% difference, I would tell you, but I'm telling you, I had one of my good buddies in the gym come to me, somebody who I know has ran turkesterone from a different company in the past, which was mixed in with a couple of other test-boosting ingredients, and he straight up asked me, is this stuff good or not? And I told him, listen, at that point I was only 1 month into it. I told him, look, bro, I'm on this for 1 month right now, and honestly, I don't feel it. And honestly, I don't even know how I'm going to review this product, because HTLT Supps is expecting a positive review, but I can't in good consciousness give this product a positive review because I didn't get anything off of it. So I don't know. I'm very, very disappointed. I wish I could come on here and tell you that this stuff is good, that this stuff made a difference in my life, that this is worth the money. And you know what? Maybe to some people it does work. Maybe for other people it does make a difference. Maybe it will give you a little bit more fullness in the gym. Maybe it'll help you recover. Maybe you're going to get a better pump on top of this. Me personally, I didn't get any of that stuff. None of the benefits that were supposed to come with this product. So unfortunately, I cannot recommend Greg Doucette's Turkesterone, despite the fact that I've been a viewer of Coach Greg's for many years and really enjoy a lot of his content, at least the old stuff. But with that being said, guys, if you do want to try out Greg Doucette's Turkesterone, he claims that there's a money-back guarantee. You guys can check it out for yourselves if you're a natty lifter. You can go to the website, you can use my discount code. I am affiliated with them, but after they watch this review, I probably won't be. So we shall see what happens. If you guys want to pick this one up, it's your money, it's 2025, go crazy. Me personally, I do not recommend it. You guys could spend your money on pre-workouts and pump formulas and get way better results. So that's it, guys. That is my highly controversial review of Coach Greg Doucette's Turkesterone. Now I'm waiting for him to make a reaction to this video and completely roast me to oblivion. But it is what it is, guys. I gotta come on here and give you the truth no matter what, because that's how I've always done it and how I will always continue to do it. I hope you guys have a great week up ahead. High Stim Ace, signing off.